Morning, folks. It's raining. Woohoo! Glad it is. It's been so dang dry here. We need this very badly. I do wish, looking at all that water running off the roofs, though, I do wish I had my rain gutters in place and some barrels. But that stuff ain't cheap. I've got to do it anyway, but that's going to be a little bit. There's a lot of roofs. We got outbuildings and things, and it would collect a lot of water, but that's a lot of money in the cost of rain gutters, So anyhow, this morning we woke up and we have no power. And so, talking with Hillbilly through Texas and things, I thought it might be kind of fun to build a fire in here and cook up our coffee that way. We do have a propane cook stove. I could do it in the house, but this is a little more fun. Look at here. I just got this too. Let's see. It's Salmon Newsbreak, winter storm warning. Like I say, it's not a winter storm warning, it's a summer storm warning that has snow. Issued as 2 feet of heavy snow coming this weekend. That'll be up in the mountains, of course, but that might cause the power to be out for some time. And the only thing I really worry about is the freezers. We got a whole cow in there, and can't really afford to lose that at all. So that's kind of a worry. But when you have a freezer going and then it goes out, all that stuff that you were trying to keep frozen, it now basically becomes ice cubes in an ice chest. And it'll take several days for that to, be thawed all the way through to the center of it. And it'll stay cold for longer than people think it will. It ain't good to thaw and refreeze, but it's not quite the disaster people imagine it to be, at least not right away. It sure gets that way if the power doesn't come back on, though. Then you gotta do something with that whole freezer of meat, or it'll spoil and it'll be done. Now, hopefully they get it fixed again. I think they probably will. Anyway, back to this. Get a fire going in here and get me some coffee. Remember all that cottonwood that's going to be throwaway stuff? Worked great for this. So have you ever wondered why these old lids like this for the stoves, some of them had a lid inside of the lid? Well, the reason why is for cooking on the coffee pots and whatnot. This old coffee pot has a percolator that I found in it that fits just perfectly. And if you take this lid off, let's see, where can I put it though? Over here. If you take that lid off, the coffee pot bottom fits just perfectly right there. And what that does is that heats a lot quicker and a lot hotter, faster than it would just sitting on top of the metal stove. The stove will get hot enough to cook on and to do the same thing, but this will do it quicker. Some of those old cook stoves I've seen, the lids actually have about 4 different size circles in them for different size pots and pans and coffee pots and things like that. It's kind of a neat idea, really. And, you know, those folks back then, they had things pretty well figured out. We've kind of outsmarted ourselves over the years. You know, we got too reliant on electricity and different things. You know, when you walk into a room and the power's out, you automatically just kind of catch yourself reaching over and turning the light switch on anyway, even though you know the power's out. And until that happens, you don't even realize that you're doing it. Like I said, the freezers, to me, that's the big one right now. But it actually takes several days for that to start to go bad. But they should hopefully have the power back on sometime this morning. The Idaho Power does know about it. I had a neighbor that sent me a text this morning, and he got a hold of them, and they're working on it. But anyway, talking with Hillbilly this morning, that kind of gave me the idea for this video. Everything we do has power. It's been years ago now, but we were at a restaurant up by North Fork, Idaho, and the power went out. Well, the place filled with smoke because their electric fans in the kitchen weren't working anymore. The electric cash register wouldn't open. Their electric credit card machines wouldn't open, or wouldn't work, you know, and of course there was no lights, and it shut them down completely. They couldn't even, a lot of people couldn't even pay for their meal, which might have been a little convenient. We don't do anything with credit cards or anything like that. We still use cash, so we were able to pay up, but a lot of them didn't, and I don't know, that was kind of an eye-opener. The big push, you know, right now is to do away with money and go to digital currency and all that stuff. What happens if the power goes out and it doesn't come back on? Everything's on computer. You don't have any money. Millionaires would suddenly be broke. You know, I mean, if you couldn't back that up somehow, some way, it would be a disaster. It's a bad idea, you know. The cash money, a lot of people don't even carry that anymore, and that's not such a good plan. If you go on a trip somewhere and the town you end up passing through is, you know, the power is out, how are you going to pay for something? And I don't know how the gas pumps work. They're electric. They must have some sort of a backup generator or something to keep them working. But you know, if the power is out for a very long time, I'm really surprised that, you know, all this terrorism and different things, I'm really surprised they have not targeted our power grid, because that would cause a lot of problems for a lot of people in a long time. If they did it in the winter time, there's enough people that have electric heat that it might kill them. They might freeze to death, you know, and sooner or later, I think that is going to happen. The power is really not guarded very well. It wouldn't be that hard for them to do. So, anyway, that's kind of one of them doom and gloom things I try to kind of avoid, but it does make you think a little bit, or at least it should. A lot of people have, you know, generators and things. We do have one that was given to us. I've never tried it. I don't know if it works. Hopefully it works, and if it's not out, you know, if it's not out very long, then I'm not really worried about it yet. But say it's out for 2 or 3 days. It's done that in the past, and our freezers, things were starting to get a little bit soft. And I mean, it wasn't bad yet, but it would be. Now, even our water well, it's not very deep. It's only about 30 feet, 35 feet. But without power, how do you get the water out of the well? And it wouldn't be very hard at all, especially when it's that shallow, to rig up a small pump that you know, stuck a garden hose down there. They make those ones that go on a drill and that kind of thing. I had a little 12-volt pump that worked pretty good, go off a car battery, and it finally burned up, though. I don't have that anymore. But something like that, you could get the water out of the well. But it'd be nice to have some sort of a pitcher type pump like they used to have, that didn't take any kind of power at all, because even a car battery, it goes dead after a while. Say you can't get your truck to start because you've run it out of gas and there's no power. That pump ain't gonna work. You're not gonna charge that battery unless you have solar panels or something like that. Anyway, like I say, it's kind of a doom and gloom thing that might be a little far-fetched, you know. I think sooner or later they are going to target our power supply, and some of this could come true, but the people are smart enough that they do have some backup plans for these things. And, you know, we've only had electricity for, 150 years, 125 years, something like that was widespread. You know, a lot of places didn't have power for even longer. A lot of places around here, even now, don't have power. Down the river road, they have propane, and propane refrigerators, propane stoves, propane lights, all that stuff, and they don't have electricity. But the majority of us do. Well, anyway, this ought to be heating up pretty good. The room's heating up. Feels pretty darn good. Coffee pot cooking now. Can hear it boiling. That cottonwood, good for something after all. Okay, so that's been boiling long enough. Now you take the coffee pot off, put that back on, keep it warm, then you put it back on top of the actual lid. It all works pretty good, really. Well, anyway, like I said, I could have done this in the kitchen. We do have a propane cook stove that works if the power's out. The little igniter things that start it, though, they don't come on with the power off. You have to use a match, but that's not a big deal. But I'm going to sit in here and drink my cup of coffee and enjoy the sound of the rain. I'm very happy to hear it. We need it. It is so dang dry here, and fire danger is so high that we need it. See you tomorrow, folks. Thanks for watching. If you don't have one, get a backup plan. Bye.